Hello Internet, my name is Ryan Ingram, and today we're going to actually talk about the third property that I ever purchased. Now, I purchased this early in 2018, and this property is nowhere close to any of my other rental properties. This is actually one of the furthest properties that I own that's away from me, but nonetheless, it came to me from a friend, and it was a very good deal. She really wanted to get rid of the property quickly. She was just tired of it. I think all real estate investors just have that one property that gets under their skin, whether it's, a real reason or not. Whether, we try our hardest to not be emotional, sometimes we are. And this is one of those properties where she just wanted rid of it. She was tired of everything remotely related to this property. And I was very eager. This was, again, my third property. So I looked at it, I overlooked all of the reasons that she told me she disliked it, and at the time, our relationship was insurance agent and client. So she was just overall just venting to me about this property, and I politely offered to buy it since it was such a frustration to her, which she kindly obliged. So that is how I found this deal. As you can see, I purchased it for $38,000. Now, this is far before I learned about owner financing, borrowing 100% of the purchase price. So at first, as I mentioned in the video on the first property that I ever purchased, I purchased things in cash and with traditional financing. So I was still doing that when I purchased this property. So on this one, I did put 25% down. As I mentioned in the video about the first property that I ever purchased, it was a duplex. I bought it for $35,000. I did so in cash. And the second property that I purchased, and also this one, I did so either in cash or with traditional financing because I just didn't have the knowledge, the network, or the infrastructure to do anything else. So, and I put 25% down on this property, which 25% of $38,000 is $9,500. So the total amount that I borrowed for this loan was $28,500. Now, this loan is with one of the smaller regional banks. They have 2 offices here in the area, and this was a commercial loan. It's amortized over 20 years, and the interest rate is 6.75%. So back in 2018, that was not a horrible interest rate. It was only slightly above all of the other residential loans that were occurring, the 30-year ones. But now, obviously, on commercial loans amortized over 20, all the ones that we've been doing lately have been around 4.5%. But this was a few years ago, 6.5%. It's still a phenomenal interest rate. It's still a great loan. In addition, we have seen, especially this municipality, again, I mentioned it's far away, it's not where I normally invest. Now that area has seen a tremendous amount of appreciation. So at this point, even the most conservative of all estimates are around $70,000 for this property. I would argue there have been several properties here lately of the same caliber, built around the same time period, that have been selling for, $95,000 to $105,000. But I don't necessarily want to go that extreme because I'm not sure how long that's going to last. Obviously, I hope it's here to stay. But nonetheless, again, this is outside of my wheelhouse, not where I normally operate. So I can't really confidently say all of the happenings in that market. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this one at about $70,000. And this is one of my first properties, like I mentioned, and when I first started, I really adhered to that 2% rule. So I purchased it for $38,000, and the 2% rule, if you're not familiar, means whatever the purchase price is, you want to be able to rent it out for at least 2% of that. So $38,000, let's just round up to $40,000, 2% of that would be $800. So that's exactly what I was able to rent this property out for. So the income of this property is $800. Now, this property looks pretty much exactly like a cigarette box. It's one of these properties that were built in the late early 1900s, and it's a 2-story, pretty narrow, really long home. So it is a 3-bed, 2-bath home. It's pretty roomy. I like this house a lot. My wife and I have considered living there on multiple occasions. Nonetheless, the monthly expenses of this property, this mortgage, $28,500 at 6.75% over 20 years, that comes out to be $220 per month. I think it's truly around $216.70, but again, whiteboard math, just broad strokes. I really like to round to make the numbers easier, not only because it looks cleaner, but also because it really lets me off the hook of trying to do mental math up here on the board. One of the rules of thumbs that I've always just kind of noticed is generally it seems like the insurance and the taxes are each about 1 month of rent. So if the income is $800 per month, then reasonably what I've seen here in this market is that the taxes will be around $800 per year, and the insurance policy will also be right at about $800 per year. We're not far off from that mark. I think they each came in around $720. So with this property, both the taxes and the insurance are $60 per month. I'm sure you're tired of hearing me say this, but nonetheless, yes, my brother and I just recently took property management in-house. However, we are still charging ourselves for that. And the reason for that is because if we want to outsource property management again, or if we want to bring somebody on full-time to manage these properties, then the funds to do so are already there in their own pretty little account. So for this property, we are charging ourselves 10% per month, 10% of the gross monthly rent. So easy math on this one, gross monthly rent $800, we're charging ourselves $80 per month. So all of these monthly expenses brings us to a total of $420 per month. So the income minus the expenses, we're left with $380 per month. Now this is back in 2018. This was way before I went full bore into real estate investing. I was trending towards that direction. I saw the benefits of it and realized that it was a very safe, awesome long-term investment, more so than the stock market, but nonetheless, I hadn't yet cashed out all of my retirement and went 100% in real estate investing. All that to say, this is before I really just got kind of obsessed with it, so I didn't take as many photos as I would have liked to, but nonetheless, they're still pretty high quality, and this property is phenomenal. We purchased it this way. We really didn't have to do any rehab to work to it at all. I think there was one drywall hole that I patched, so I didn't put the couple $100s that we spent on this. There was also a bunch of ivy growing up the side, and there was just some trees that were just entirely too close to the home, so we cut the majority of those down. And we also power washed the house. So the first few pictures look pretty rough, but nonetheless, bear with me, it gets awesome. So let's have a look. So all of those pictures were also from about 2018. Fortunately, we had the same tenant in that property. She is a phenomenal human, and she has been there and has no intentions of leaving. So this is a phenomenal property, one of the best performing properties in our portfolio, and largely, as you guessed, it's because of the way that we financed it and the way that we purchased it. So we've got a lot of equity in it. We've got a low monthly payment. It's not like one of these properties that we purchased with 100% of the purchase price and the rehab costs financed. But again, that's a short-term play to build the portfolio, and our end goal is after these short-term loans are complete, then yes, we're going to refinance all of these, and in the next year and a half, 2 years, the majority of the properties in our portfolio are going to look exactly like this. So it's truly going to be beautiful whenever it all comes together. But nonetheless, I get all emotional, sentimental, and super excited when I look back at the first few deals that I did. So thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out. I love reading these comments, and I strive to answer each and every one of those. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Talk to you soon.